Okay, for my YouTube viewers, you guys always get a little bit more footage, but you get it later on because I hook that thing up to the YouTube later on. And I hope that everything stays put while we're broadcasting in here, because I've got you guys rigged with what I'll call a secondary tripod and a different angle. I don't like it very much. I like it to be a little bit flatter. Let's get that flatter. Alright, let's see if this will work. Boy, I ought to take a picture of what this rig is. God bless every one of you who have to watch this. Alright, turn the Facebook on. Alright, here we are in the workshop. And today, Facebook viewers, it's middle of the day, so I don't expect a whole lot of you to be on here. But I don't like to do a video unless I feel pretty happy. I don't like to share. I don't like to do videos unless I feel pretty darned happy. And it doesn't take a whole lot to make me happy. Nathan Phillips, I miss your shop and I miss your face. Edward Pigeon, Michael O'Mockerly, good to have you guys with me today on Facebook Live. I've got a secondary camera running, a wide angle on this that I'll share to YouTube after this. Secondary camera is a Yeelight camera that I got for Christmas. I like it. But here in the workshop today, I rolled glue. I've got a batch of boards in the press right now, and I have shot tops on those decks back there, and I am almost all the way up. I got another couple of decks ordered this morning that are going into cut today. In fact, those boards are going to cut from these two right here. So these are for today's orders, and these over here are special selected custom cuts. This one is already, this one's already scribed, and I'm having phone conversations with the customer on the final dimensions on it. And this one up here, this one is getting, this one was already, I did a draft on this one for another make. Yeah, guys, if you want to enjoy the wide angle of these, go on the YouTube that I post after. So I take a YouTube version with a wide angle lens, and when you go through the YouTube now, you got like super wide angle. This is my phone for Facebook, and sure is better than that computer I'm using, which is actually what's weird about the computer is, you know, it's really old. It's like an 11-year-old computer or 12, but it also is, for some strange reason, it's speeding up. It seems to be learning how to, maybe it's like brain damage, how you can actually get new paths set up in your brain. Maybe that's what my computer is doing. It's recovering from brain damage or suffering from chronic traumatic encephalopathy. That's a mouthful. But welcome to the Lost Bikers Saloon. That's a sign that the Schlagers gave me. I am hoping to see the Schlagers on my way down to the Tampa Pro this year, either Johnny Davidson or the Schlagers. I'm trying to break up the first leg of my trip down. The last 2 times I've gone down to Tampa, you know, we get these rain systems that just sit right on the road to Tampa, 75 South. I usually take just straight down. It's usually 40-something degrees or better in late February in Cincinnati. I don't mind the mild weather here. Today it's like 19, but it's usually raining and cold on the way down to the Tampa Pro. And my last trip out to Texas, I used a heated hoodie. And it's a contractor hoodie, so it's heated on the upper chest and it's heated on the upper back. I tell you, if you're going to build a heated hoodie, you really want to put that heat on the lower back and the lower front. So I thought of going on Amazon. I looked at them and getting a USB powered back heating pad and just putting it on backwards, putting it on my belly. I suspect that I'll be able to brave any kind of cold if I can do that. And then I lost my gloves. I bought some really nice long gauntlets and I lost them. So I had to go back to my hunting gloves, which were even nicer upper gauntlets, like they closed better. Can't find those either, so I'm glove shopping now. I will not be heading to Tampa Pro via Memphis and Hernando. Ed Pigeon asks him if I'm coming that way. I won't be able to make it that way, but I will be headed down through Knoxville and Atlanta. And I'm wondering about staying in Knoxville the first night, just if it's rainy and crappy that night, to have the ability to crash on a couch. So if there's anyone with guest capacities in Knoxville that knows me and I know you, let me know. I'm going to, geez, maybe I should go down through Memphis, but Memphis is really off the beaten from, I want to do everything. I also want to be at home with my family. I have a really nice home life. I have a really particularly pleasant home life with a lot of really good friends outside of skateboarding, and am really, really a well-supported and well-loved person in my life and family. I'm really grateful for that. I don't think I'd hang with some of the stuff I've gone through if it weren't for my friends and my family. Maybe I would out of sheer stubbornness, but if you know me, I think you'll know I'm not really a very hardcore stubborn person. I like to flex. Tommy Story, Chris Gurley, it's good to see you guys in there. Gatlinburg, yeah, I'm not interested in Gatlinburg. It's a little ways off too. I almost would want to do like a KOA and sleep next to my bike, except that it's the rainy season. Now, if it's just gorgeous, sunny, it doesn't have to be super warm, but if it's sunny, I'll throw some hand warmers in my gloves, whichever ones I wind up getting, and I will hit the road and I will go all the way down to Atlanta and stay at the Schlager's house on the night of the 26th. And then I will stay in that area skating with all those guys. Hopefully, if it's nice and sunny, I'll be able to skate with Johnny and the Schlagers and all those folks around there and everyone coming through. Yeah, I know where Gatlinburg is. I know how it is. Man, I can't stand driving around Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge on the Strip, but it probably at this time of year isn't even crowded. I got memories, man. One time, some of our friends took us to Dollywood. I liked my trip to Dollywood, I mean, who can turn down a live alligator, on the side of the road, which I did not go see. But it's not my scene, man. Maybe if I had like money to spend and I was like let myself go to it, I would really enjoy that. But one time we went up to Roan Mountain and we just stayed in a cabin up there in the woods. Now that was my scene. I like that. Sit on a porch, play the guitar, read the Bible, just chilling, thinking about what really matters in life. That's pretty much my plan. And but today, going to be sighting in a few customs. Going to be, I rolled glue earlier. I took some of my experimental glue. All the glues say don't let this freeze, and I let a single gallon of super cheap glue freeze, and I played with it a little bit, and it is like curdled milk. It looks really bad. So I think I learned that you can't use glue that you've let freeze. No harm, no foul. However, what will it do if I beat it with a whip? Not a whip like whoosh, but a whip like a whip. If I take my drill and agitator and I whip it again, will that glue recondition into usefulness? It's likely that it will. A lot of the mysterious chemical properties and things of glue are recoverable when you whip it. I learned that. So I have stories about glue and glue experiments. I've told a few, kept a few back. But here in the workshop, it's I've got a stack of cuts to make. I've got boards over here curing. I'm running batches of, I'm running about 5 boards per batch right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, maybe 7 boxes to ship going, and I've got an 8-ply, I have an 8-ply pump point in the workshop. It's over there in paint. I've got a bunch of them ready to paint, to go to paint right now. And this 8-ply pump point was an accident. This happens sometimes, that an extra ply will get involved. It's laid up actually perfectly right, and I'm pleased with that. So the extra ply is a oh, Chris Gurley wants to test out a reconstituted glue blank. Hit me up about that, Chris. Why don't you send me a DM, and we can talk about that. You're just the kind of bloke I think would give me the feedback and in the language I can understand. I'd like to try that. Let me use that reconstituted super cheap glue and make you something, and have you wreck it. I'm sure that it will not last. But playing with junk glue. Nice thing, National Casein closed down, so I lost my official glue guys. And then I got a phone call from my National Casein rep. She is now working with, now what are they called? Oh, she's working with another glue company, and they are going to send me some samples. One of the features in skateboard glues that is in question is water resistance. Water resistance in glues is highly overblown. The glues that are not highly water resistant perform pretty well in damp and dunk. They don't just come apart. But they've got to be rescued from water quickly. You shouldn't expect any skateboard to perform well after it's been dunked. If you dunk it in a river, it's going to flex out. It's going to start cracking apart. It's not going to be good because your glue can be really good, but your plies are now saturated. It's pretty much a disaster to dunk a board. For rain riding, if you want to ride in the rain, I have the answer. The answer is for me to make you a board that is, I make the board and then I coat the board in thick paste wax, and I push paste wax down through the holes, let it soak in, push it down through the holes, let it soak in, and I just get the whole thing permeated with paste wax, the edges, the top, the bottom, inside the holes, get the whole thing done with paste wax, and then I buff the paste wax. That's like a 3-day paste waxing, and it's stinky. It makes the whole place smell like petroleum, whatever. And then after that gas is out, you buff it on the 3rd day, 4th day, and then on the 5th, 6th, and 7th day, you just let it finish soaking in. Then you give it a quick sanding. Then after you've sanded your paste wax job, you're going to follow that with a hand rolled or hand applied oil-based finish. I won't aerosol spray oil-based because it's too combustible. A spark can set off oil-based fog easily, so I don't do any spraying oil-based. A light bulb can set it off. It's gnarly, and then the shop is well swept. I mean, it's not too bad. And I've got a fire extinguisher like every 5 feet here. Where's my nearest fire extinguisher? Oh yeah, it's right here. Here's my nearest fire extinguisher. I've got big old fire extinguishers everywhere in here just in case it goes up. Really enjoy rain boards. I made a board for a guy in Southeast Asia. He was heading out there, and I made a board for him. Now this finish, when I do a rain board, is not, rainboard with the paste wax treatment, that takes a lot of time to soak in, especially in the, you got to get the holes where the hardware goes, get that fully covered, and then to hand apply an oil-based lacquer coating on it. You're looking at a pretty serious, it's a pretty serious doing there. And then, so it's like $165 for a rainboard, and they're not pretty. The finishes on them are not super beautiful. You can't do a lot of paint on those. So they're super special order, and I like to focus on shape and concave and all that with those. They're pretty intense, the rainboards are. So I don't do a lot of those. I think I've done probably 3 in my whole. No, more like 5. I discovered rainboard making when I did a whole bunch of molds. What I did was, I had carved my first concave, and then after I carved my first concave, I wanted to multiply the number of molds I had. So I made a whole bunch of top and bottom molds off of uncuts, pressed off my concave, and learned a lot. Matt Simpson, who's going to be here this Friday, he rides Fickle out from California. Matt Simpson helped me do all those. We put them in kiddie pools to cure, and we made 6 mold halves that wound up making I think I got like 3 more molds out of that. Yeah, I did. But the mold halves didn't marry properly. They did not. But the decks that I used when I made, thanks Sean Tierney. Good to see you, brother. It's good to see New York high school friend Sean Tierney on the feed today. But when I pulled the uncuts that I had used to form those molds, at least one of them had a little bit of a warp in it, so the concrete was useless. But it was a tiny warp. I mean, I'm a balance of super picky and perfectionistic, and accepting and flexible and willing to be gracious. I'm a balance of those things. Not always the perfect balance for everyone, but when I pulled them out, I had coated them in paste wax as a release, and I pulled out those 3 decks, and they had been in concrete, 100% wet, getting sprayed every day. Oh, Jason Kersey Kerr. I have made longboards because I have a long mold, and my long mold, I've got the last 3 off of it cut short right now. But my long mold gives me up to a 20-inch wheelbase, but it still has a tail kick and a nose kick. I ride the long mold. It's also mellower. So my long mold makes. I'm working on making Kenny Harrison a slalom deck. I made one for Eric Sanders, and I want to make one for Lenny Pogue. My concaves and my long concave makes great 22-inch wheelbases on slaloms and things like that. So when free ride, slalom, my longboard mold is outstanding. But also my longboard mold makes my boards, which are like a street hybrid. My board is almost 36 inches long. I only have a 15.6-inch wheelbase on it, which gives me a mellow, long nose and a long tail with good pocketing. And I ride it sort of street and park style. I ride ramps and stuff with it, and I love it. I love long, generous boards. You can see me do a frontside Smith grind on a board I made on the long mold too. I just posted earlier talking about sucking at skateboarding and sucking at life, which I don't think I do either. It's a tongue-in-cheek post I made in response to some of the dynamics. Sometimes you have to just put it out there. When things are getting said about you, you got to just take that and you got to own it and walk with it and just enjoy that. So sometimes they hate us because they ain't us. So, when I pulled out those 3 boards from making 6 mold halves, they had been inside concrete, 100% wet. They were coated in paste wax, put in the water, poured concrete on them, kept them wet for days and days and days, 3-4 days wet, maybe a week, and then pulled out, re-dried. I made floorboards out of them, and those 3 boards had a fully impregnated with paste wax. It was actually turtle wax for cars. So I oil-based finished those boards and gave them to my riders. And friends, those boards were so strong. They were amazing. They were amazing. And I was using a glue that is very water resistant, a 2-part glue, PVA with acid actuator. And boy, oh boy, they were just, wow, they were awesome. They lasted forever. And after being dunked for days and days in wet concrete. And so I saw what a paste wax treatment on a deck can do, and it proved to me that a paste wax and oil-based finished board may have a deeper color, it may get a little more yellowed in the finish, but boy, it lasts. And there's another board on the wall behind me up here. Let me see if I point at it, if you can see it. No, it's off the Facebook camera. I bet the Yi light that's going right now for YouTube will pick it up. But that one up there, it's ancient, and you can tell the difference between a well-soaked in oil-based finish and the classic water-based polys that are so common, because boy, that finish is not going anywhere versus a lot of decks. The finish is really not an eternal finish. It's part of one of the things I'm uncomfortable collecting a lot of skateboards, because they really are a tender item. They've got to be treated so. Oh, dental work yesterday. God bless you, Jason. What a bummer, dude. I had some dental. God bless, bro. So yeah, oil finished, wax coated, deeply soaked paste wax boards are really good for rain riding. Almost no matter what glue you're using, but I'd like to see how bad some of these non-water resistant glues are for skateboards. I'm noticing some of these glues have awesome applications for durable laminate, but they don't have a great water resistance rating. And I think that you should not get your board wet if it's raining, unless you're on a coated board that's really good. Don't get your board wet. I know that sometimes you want to just push a little bit, and I don't think we're talking about going through a puddle and flicking some water up onto your board, but I tell you what, if you want a rain ride, I have like the answer to rain riding. So I don't have those on the site. Those are like a super custom job, but boy, they're satisfying to make, knowing that they last so well. And always a long lead time on those, because that wax has to soak in so deep. But yeah, so I got, what have I got back there? 5 on the rack back there that are top coated and going into paint. I've got a few on the paint rack right now. I'm gonna do those graphics. I've got these customs here that I'm cutting today. I've got a couple of orders that came in the last couple of days, and I am happy as a clam. It is really nice to come into this place, and especially nice to greet your orders. I'm so grateful for all the people who order a deck from me, and I'm really happy to see you. So I'm glad that we got to spend this time together and talk about board making and have you in the workshop. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks everybody for the time you spent, and I'm going to sign off of Facebook Live now. But before I do, I'm going to show you, Facebook guys, what I set up today as an accommodation to YouTube. So I set up a wide-angle version of this chat running right under the Facebook version, so you guys can see a little more of the workshop. I got that sweet Yi action camera there for Christmas, and look how I rigged it onto this This was sent by a dear one out there who runs LBI Skate, and he sent this to me as a special gift. It came in the mail, and I was like, "What's this? This is awesome!" And then this is from Steve O'Collins, this spidery thing, and this goes on the road with me. This goes on the road with me, and also I've got this ancient. A guy named Zach, who is a super cool guy, gave me this Hero 2, and I didn't use it today, but this is the one I use in my office. And I just love farting around with this technology and dialing in some of this media stuff. But while I've got the Facebook folks off the thing, here are some decks today, and you can see back there my groupings are still sloppy, but I was on 8 yards of grams. And then going through here. Oh, I guess I better stick around here since YouTube. This will be up on YouTube, and I'm going to sign off now. And thanks for watching. Thanks for spending time with me today. And for those of you who are listening later, today I talked about wax finish rainboards, and I talked about yeah, I think that's pretty much what I covered. And I talked about frozen glue too. So have a great day. Be safe. Remember who loves you. And as always, hi Mom, I love you. All right, YouTube. So that's finished, and then I like to save those so that I have them. But because I also recorded for you guys, the YouTube viewers and the listeners on the podcast, with the Yi camera, I can just archive that copy and use this one on the feed. I think next time I'm going to give you guys a little bit better camera angle. This angle today, I can't see what it looks like because I can't see what you're seeing, but I know you guys are kind of low, so I'm working on it, friends. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for coming by. You know I love my mom, and Mom, I think you know I love you too. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.